All right, we are talking fat loss versus weight loss. And if you saw the Getting Started modules, I briefly talked about this in one of the videos, but today I'm really going to dig into what is the difference between fat loss and weight loss and body composition, okay? So first what I want to talk about is body composition. So body composition is the composition in which it's made of muscle and or fat, which every human is made of muscle and fat, but it's the percentages at which we have on our body. Okay, and the percentages determine not necessarily as much weight, but what our body looks like. Okay, and for me, this was when I very first started, and this was probably about 6 months ago. Okay, if I were to show you these pictures, you might say either A, I weigh a lot more here, or B, it looks a lot different, right? So in these two pictures, I weigh the exact same weight when I first started. These two pictures, I'll just put my weight out there. I am 160 pounds. I thought when I first started my journey about 8 years ago, I thought I needed to lose about 20 pounds to get me to the goals that I wanted to get to, the physical body that I wanted to get to. And if you would have told this version of Kelsey that she was 160 pounds and she looked the way that she wanted to look, I would have thought you would have been out of your brain. Okay, and this is the difference between body composition and scale. And this physique, I have a lot more muscle on me. I mean, I'm in a building phase right here. I have a lot more muscle on me. And so a lot more muscle and a lot less body fat, so you can see more muscle. As a result, which I'll show you later, I have the same weight because I have more muscle, less body fat. So this is where these two bodies can look vastly different. Your body composition can look vastly different, but that weight on the scale say the exact same. And same thing here. If I would tell you and ask you, hey, do you think that she made progress? You would say, yeah, she did make progress, a lot of progress, right? And if I would show you the scale, and the scale said the exact same weight in this picture and in this picture, and I asked you, hey, do you think she made progress? You probably look at the scale and say, no, like it doesn't look any different. But that is the difference between body composition and weight from a scale. She here has a lot leaner frame from building more muscle and having less fat, right? She looks vastly different in these two pictures, but you would not tell that just from the scale. And so this is where when women specifically only look at the scale for progress, it can be very misleading because your body can look night and day differently than just what that number says. Okay, and this is where I love to pull this in of fat loss versus weight loss. Okay, obviously she lost a lot of fat, but she didn't lose any weight because the scale said the same thing. Does that still mean she made progress? Hell yes, it does. All right, and so what we said here is you can be losing fat, but the scales say the same or go up. And this is the reason why if you look to the right here. So this is the volume of fat. And then this is the volume of muscle, of 5 pounds of muscle. So both of these equal the same exact weight, but the volume of it is vastly different. And so if I lose 5 pounds of fat, but I gain 5 pounds of muscle, I have a lot leaner frame, but the weight actually on the scale says the exact same. And this is very important for the individuals that are either newly strength training or starting to push themselves more, is you will gain muscle and you should gain muscle, especially at the beginning of your journey and throughout, okay? And this will happen as the scale might be higher as a result, especially if you're newer and you're not used to strength training. You're going to gain a lot of muscle quickly. You're not going to hulk up, but your body's going to be pretty prepared for it. And so this is where the scale might be higher at the beginning, and that is okay. Or as you're progressing, you might look vastly different, but the scales say the same, all right? A lot of women think that they're going for a weight loss goal when really they want fat loss. They want to look different. They want to feel different. That was me. I thought I wanted a weight loss goal, but I truly wanted a body composition change. I wanted a fat loss, okay? And this is where body composition is different than just the weight on the scale, all right? And so we're not anti-scale here. It's still some good measure of data, but like I tell a lot of my clients, I'm looking for trends over time. So I'm not looking, does it go down every single day or does it go up every single day? I want to just see trends over time. When we're in a fat loss phase, Are we trending downward? When we're in a reverse diet, are we trending upward or are we staying stagnant? When we're in a building phase, are we staying stagnant or are we trending upward? I'm looking just for trends over time, and we're also looking for correlations. This is where I really talk about it from the mentality standpoint, okay? What impacts the scale is how you sleep. If you sleep terribly, it's going to impact the scale. I'll tell you this, and I shared this in the previous module, is when I was doing my big bodybuilding journey, I would wake up really early, like 3:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. On a Saturday, I would sleep until about 6:30, 3 hours more, right? Every single Saturday, I weighed in 2 pounds less because I had more sleep. Did I drop 2 pounds overnight of body fat? No. Did I just lose 2 pounds of all this fat on my body? No. The only thing that changed was the amount of inflammation and water retention from my sleep being better. I had less inflammation. I had less water retention because I slept better. Sleep can impact it heavily. How much water you drink can impact it heavily. If you are stressed, happens in my body a lot. I will be up on the scale 2-3 pounds when I'm pretty stressed. If you gain muscle, you want this, or digestion. There's so many factors that it can impact the scale. I shared this exact same story before, but when I was, once again, doing my bodybuilding journey, I weighed in on show day, and after you do your show, you eat a lot of different foods, a lot of sugary foods that you're not used to eating, so you retain a lot of water. You feel puffy, you feel bloated, and then the next morning, I woke up about 10 to 12 pounds heavier, literally 10 pounds heavier on the scale. Not normal, would not advocate that by any means, but did I gain 10 pounds overnight? No. All right, I did not gain 10 pounds overnight. I knew the differences there. I knew my body was retaining more water, but that goes to show you that there's so much more that impacts the scale than just fat gain. All right, so then when we look at the scale, we want to look for correlations. Did you sleep terribly? Yes, that makes sense why your scale was 2 pounds up. Did you sleep great? Did you get great water in yesterday? Okay, it makes sense why. Is there low stress? Beautiful, that makes sense. We're looking for correlations, and this is where you can get a lot more knowledgeable about your body, knowledgeable about how it reacts to certain things when we start looking at it as data versus your sense of worth, okay? Like we talked about in other ones, there's other ways to measure progress too. Progress pictures, how clothes fit, how digestion is, energy, sleep, measurements, all of the things. Like you see here in my girl, if we didn't take pictures, she probably thought she would be making no progress. This is why other measures are so important, okay? And lastly, I do want to talk about the mentality. I'll make it a little bigger. Mentality with the scale. Like I said, it is one data measure. It is not your worth. It is not your end-all be-all with progress. It is not who you are, all right? Especially when we have ingrained in our brain that a lower number is better, okay? You can still want to lose weight. I am not going to discourage you from that. I'm still an advocate of you getting healthy, right? But when our whole worth is tied to it, that is when we psychologically can start to derail us. And so I want us to really challenge to look at it as one data measure. Okay, we have a lot of other data. We have a lot of other measurements. We have a lot of other qualitative data, but we're just looking for correlations. Do I have more sodium? Did I have more sodium yesterday? Oh, well, I did, so it makes sense why it's up 2 pounds. Okay, was my meal timing off? Did I sleep terrible? When we start to see what certain things and how it affects us, we become less attached. We start looking for correlations instead of looking for it as our sense of worth, all right? And I'll tell you this, your goal number is most likely really off. Like I said, I thought my goal number was 20 pounds less than what I am today, okay? And I feel more confident, I'm stronger, I look better in my body today than I would have ever thought at this weight, okay? So your goal number is most likely really off anyway, and that's okay. But really, let's challenge ourselves to look at our mentality with the scale as just data, all right? And next but not least, we're gonna go through diet and nutrition, and then we'll work to the nutrition modules.